What up, big time gang? Welcome back to another Tommy Big Time video. This one is going to be another battery change on a Ronda 8040N Swiss movement. This is a quartz watch, obviously that's why it needs a battery change. And even though this is on a Grand Octane or Grand Arsenal, switching out the 8040N battery on any watch is going to be almost exactly the same. Some case backs to open might be a little different, but as far as the internals, the movement, once you get that case back off, 99.9% of all Ronda 8040Ns have the same exact two screws you need to remove to get to the battery and use the same battery. So I get a lot of questions asking me about model numbers and what batteries does this watch take. It's simple as looking up what movement the watch has and then Googling that movement to find out which battery it takes. And if you know the movement, you can also look it up on YouTube and find my video or someone else doing a battery change on that particular movement. So the watch doesn't matter as much as the movement when it comes to battery changes. And I just thought I'd throw it out there right in the beginning of the video so that you understand where I'm coming from when I answer your questions. Okay, so stay tuned and we'll get into this. All right, so this is a Grand Arsenal, Grand Octane, model number 0335. This one was high polished, and this is an old watch. It's been high polished, but it needs an update on the polishing because the polishing looks a little rough nowadays. But I'm doing a battery change and I'm trying to flip this watch. So you can see that bracelet all nicely high polished as well. I have this model already in the original brushed. I'm not a high polish fan. If the watch comes original and high polished, I'm all for it. But I won't normally polish a watch that is brushed and put it into high polish. This is not my style. Not what I like. I like the brushed. I'm a greasy person. Fingerprints are a pain on a high polished piece. And so I prefer all my pieces to be in their original format, which is normally brushed. So I removed the micro adjustment. The micro adjustments was hold this link into the clasp. I removed that pin. Now I'm going to open the case back. So we need to loosen it up just a little bit. There we go. A little snug, but I popped it loose. I got asked the other day in a video, what is the tool I use to remove the case back once it's already loose? And this is just a mechanic's pick. That's all this is. I bought this in a screwdriver set from Jegs many moons ago. It came with a screwdriver set of like, I'm gonna say 30 to 50 pieces. And I use this because it just works for what I need it for. It's not magnetized. It does have a little bit of magnetization on the tip of it, but as you can see, it's not magnetized. It only has that magnetization being with other screwdrivers that were magnetized. So it's not enough to damage the movement, but it is enough to hold these little tiny light pieces. And that helps me with my fat fingers to be able to get in there and work on the movement itself. So you always want to loosen the crown. You don't want to have it screwed down so you don't damage the stem of the movement. So I'm doing that now. Now the crown is loose. I am going to pop this plastic retainer out because it's a lot harder to get in there when you have the plastic retainer in. There we go. And now it's just those two screws to remove and we're in business. So we got one there, and then that battery cover comes off. This movement takes a Renata 395 battery. So we will just remove these 2 screws. Now remember, these screws are super tiny and you don't need to apply a lot of pressure to remove them and to put them back in. So just be gentle. Take your time. I've done this many times, and that's why it seems like I'm going through it pretty fast. Use a pick. So it appears as though I have some more rotations on the screws. You don't want to pry on anything. If it doesn't come out easy, reassess what you're doing. Okay, that screw's definitely out now. That one's definitely out now. And there we go. There's both screws and the cover. And now we're simply just going to remove the battery. And just to prove to you that it is a RENATA 395, I'll show you what was in there. And there it is, RENATA 395. And we're going to replace it with the exact same battery, RENATA 395. Now there's a little tab here that you want to go against. So you put the battery in opposite end first and then pop it into place. Now that the battery's in, now we got to do the cover in reverse. So this is the trickiest part for me. Gets me every time. It is a pain in the butt to get these screws back in. So first I want to get the cover aligned, like so. There we go. Now, ever so gently, I am going to try to place the screws back in the holes, one at a time. Now, if you try to do 2 at a time, and you lift that cover back up, then you're back at square one again because you knocked the screws out. So I always try to do 1 at a time. And see, the screw fell out. Now a lot of people do it where they leave the screws in that cover, but that doesn't work for me. I always knock them out anyway, so I don't even bother trying to do it that way anymore. Okay, I got the screw semi-lined up in the hole. We're gonna try to get it to kind of flop into the hole like that. Give it a little twist. And there we go. One's in. I'm not going to tighten it all the way down yet because I'm going to get the other one in. Patience is of a virtue when working on a watch, for dang sure. And there we go, it dropped it again. Now, like a watchsmith or a watchmaker probably uses tweezers for this. I'm not good with the tweezers. I'm better with just the tools I'm using right now. That's why I use what I use. I have a whole bunch of specialty tweezers for watchmaking, but it never goes in my favor. And there we go. So now we'll fully tighten it down, and then we'll do the same to the other one. Snug. Snug. Okay. Now we put the plastic retainer back in. I'm gonna go rear first. Make sure the crown stem is lined up so you don't damage the crown stem when you're putting that retainer back on. Case back on. Obviously the case back goes on righty tighty, lefty loosey. So I use this pick to put the case back on so I don't cross thread. This is where, you know, it only takes really soft, slow spinning to get it to screw down. And you know you're not cross threading, because if it gets tough at any moment, you know you're doing something wrong, and back off quick. And there it is. So now it's simple as putting the spring pin back in. It goes in the second hole is what I use. Line that up. Use my little flathead screwdriver to push that pin down and get it inside the clasp. Like so. And now we're locked in, we're good to go. And now we're ticking. So you see it down there by the 31. That's the second hand ticking. Battery chain successful. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day. And as always, God bless.